It has been less than a day since Death Battle's Kickstarter began as of writing and recording this, so probably not as of releasing this, and the legends in this community have already smashed past the goals so fast that the fellas behind it had to keep adding stretch goals throughout the stream they started 3 hours after launch. Season 11 has reason the title's not entirely right. They made it clear in that stream that it's more like just Death Battle's just going to keep going. Endlessly. Forever. You will die before Season Now becomes Season Then. But people are going to take a bit before they start thinking of it that way, so I'm just going to keep calling it Season 11 for now. They've announced so many episodes, it's insane. Let's go through them and talk about them. Now for this, I'm going to try to avoid talking about my opinion on the matchups. I'm not the biggest fan of some of these, but it's not fucking about me, is it? I'm just going to be talking about what they've announced. Because I want to. I'm excited, and I wanted to make something related. That's literally the whole reason, is I was just really excited. I'm going to go over the matchups, previews we've seen for a few of them, and just kind of keep you all up to date if I can. The Kickstarter launched with a video that immediately revealed 2 episodes with sneak peeks, of unfinished animation of course. Those are Bardock vs Omni-Man and Bowser vs Eggman, 2 phenomenal choices to get the buzz going. Dragon Ball will always be relevant, especially in the versus crowd. Invincible is huge right now, and Omni-Man remains by far the most popular character, at least from what I've observed. Homelander vs Omni-Man was easily the most viewed episode of the last few seasons, and while super popular, it also made people request for a new Omni-Man episode pretty much immediately out of the desire to see Nolan get an actual fight instead of a one-sided beatdown. Nolan as a character in the analysis was also handled in a way that avoided spoilers to anybody who didn't look at the visuals on screen, so they left plenty on the table to talk about, to the point where even only a few years later, they easily have enough stuff to talk about that they didn't beforehand. And Bardock has gotten a huge resurgence of media appearances ever since Dragon Ball Minus and Dragon Ball Super Broly, for better or worse, and a lot more discussion about him has risen up in time, mostly for worse, but it's gotten people talking. There's also the fact this matchup is super debatable, either in the burp could do with it, but I think it's usually in the sense that it's debatable because the stats are close, or because it's debatable as to which one completely stat stomps the other. And furthermore, people will start and have started already asking questions about how Bardock will be handled, where they'll draw the line for what counts and not. So there's tons of ways this matchup alone could get people talking, not to mention just the fact that the matchup itself is super popular, and you've got it animated by Devil Artemis, who is a pretty big name to just casually slap onto the first fucking episode you're gonna up and announce. It's insane. And the unfinished bits they've shown us are pretty damn cool. We got pretty much an idea of the setup. Bardock shows up on an alien planet that Nolan is conquering, and Nolan immediately recognizes him as a threat and attacks, but Bardock reads his power level on his scouter, sees him coming, and is able to fight back. This shot itself feels like it's a reference to the surprise attack he attempted on the Immortal 2. It could be combining with a reference to something Bardock's done, but I feel like this sort of shot of Bardock, like, real up close with his scouter focused, is just really common. We got a few decent shots of some fighting in the sky, which I think looks pretty damn good, and this shot that feels very evocative of the intros to Mortal 1 Kombat. And at the same time, it shows off that this clearly is not Nolan's model from that game. Do share if you know what this is from, and if nobody has any ideas, it might even be a custom model. It does look a bit stylized. It looks, I don't know, it just doesn't look like his Mortal 1 Kombat, and it doesn't quite look like his Fortnite model either. I mean, I haven't looked at either to confirm that, so I could be talking out my ass, but I'm just going to say it doesn't look like either of them. And we got this fucking shot. Oh man, this was the hypest moment of the reveals to me, and that's saying something, given I love the matchup they revealed right after. The Ozaru is the first ever transformation in the franchise that made the whole super form trope the pop culture icon it is today. It's a form that has never shown up on Death Battle, with the closest being Super Saiyan 4 over a decade ago in the first season. Well, like I know, the closest is Ikari Broly in Hulk vs. Broly. At least in terms of technically closest. The closest visually is still Super Saiyan 4 because it's got all the hair, but you know what I mean. This is pretty much the perfect shot to end the preview on. It's a great looking high scale shot that leaves an impact. Showing off the Ozaru is also not only great to show that Bardock is clearly going to use his scientific genius to make a fake moon, because of course he will, but also leaves the question as to if episode of Bardock and thus Super Saiyan is going to be used still up in the air. I still think they will. I think Nolan is going to finesse your boy and then force Super Saiyan out in a moment of anger. Or maybe Nolan is just going to get finessed and fly straight up and punch a moon to death to untransform him. That would be very Death Battle. But it's definitely a more striking and unique and honestly hype as fuck reveal than just Super Saiyan Bardock. Anyway, I think they're going to like fuse Toei and canon stuff together. Just like the original stuff that Bardock is known for and the modern stuff. Because you can't really do one or the other because there's just gaps in each other and stuff that's not really there. There's not a lot to talk about. I mean, look, they composited new and old Broly, so I think they're going to composite new and old Bardock. No heroes, though. That shit's not going to be used, and I doubt no one's getting that spawn scaling either. The next episode revealed was Bowser vs. Eggman. sure, damn. There's less to say for this one in terms of what events are shown. We basically just get this sick-ass shot of Eggman, which flashes into him becoming his own logo briefly, pretty cool. And then a shot of his egg fleet, along with the iconic TIE Egg Fighter. But the main thing you'll notice is, this shit is hand-drawn and an army fight? What the fuck? I cannot express how hard it was to not scream in the pop-off because people were asleep when this dropped in my house. This looks so good. We get a good look at several members of each army. We got Eggman and the Egg Dragoon, I think, which is a significantly cooler option than just the Death Egg robot again. Got a few big names like King Boo and Biffweed's grandpa on Bowser's side, as well as Bowser's spawn. No Sage, oddly, and we get this sick-ass fucking shot of Bowser spinning timing at the Egg Dragoon, which is so dynamic, so smooth. It has a Hotel Mario moment. I mean, what is there to even say, but fuck me, Drungas looks great. Endless hype for both of these. They're looking really good so far, and were great reveals. Anyway, I'm not letting this sneak Domon Kashu past. He's right there in the video. He's right fucking there alongside Master Asia? Aw, man. Here I was hoping they snuck in a sick Domon matchup, but no, it's just a stand-in. Still, I mean, Domon got on Death Battle, technically. Death Battle also announced one rematch on the tables, with the Kickstarter options being Yang Xiaolong versus Tifa Lockhart, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern, and Master Chief versus the guy from Doom. While these are all pretty good options for getting attention, with one probably being the most wanted rematch ever alongside the existing Link vs. Cloud and Goku vs. Superman 3, they've also made it clear on the stream that any Death Battle can be chosen for a rematch, with the backers being able to vote. We don't know what it'll be yet, of course, but we'll have to see. All we know is that they said a fat no to a Bieber vs. Black rematch. But they never said anything about a Death Battle vs. the World rematch! Moving up from that though, they also showed off Kratos vs. Azura, with a preview by Devil Artemis. This preview is pretty much just a minute of stuff before the fight, with Kratos sitting there seething, arguably even maybe molding, potentially. He's slightly miffed, as he gets hit with a verbal beatdown from Zeus, who just got off from getting ratioed by throwing epic rap battles of history and went for an easier target. And also Azura is speaking as well. Pretty much just the two molding, though we don't see Azura until the end, whose appearance at Kratos' door is very evocative of Thor's appearance in the newer games. It's a pretty cool intro, but I'm really curious what's going to actually make them fight. And I can't deny I'm very curious as to how they'll handle the sheer scale difference. This one is one that I'm less excited for and more very curious as to how they're going to go about it. I can definitely tell they're trying for a more story sort of setup with paying more lip service to the characters, which, you know what, was expected, I guess. But I will be interested to see where they go with this, because the last time we got an episode with a minute-long intro, that was Homelander vs. Omni-Man, and I love that episode, but there wasn't much of a fight. So I'm curious as to whether this is also going to be very long intro, minimal fight, and then mostly just story payoff, or if it's going to be a mid-long intro, and then Devil Artemis is just going to pop off for the fight too. A pretty good reveal for those who wanted this matchup, and they have also verbally confirmed that they've not forgotten about Tomcat vs. Wily, so both are on the cards, and I think it was a good idea to show something for Kratos Azura. Not only because I feel like with Tomcat vs. Wily, they might be thinking about doing it hand-drawn or something, which I'm no confirmation, I'm just saying it's possible, and they also probably have to make sprites for them if they're doing it sprite-based in the other option. They're not doing it 3D. They're not doing it 3D. So not only do I think it might just take more time to get that done, as opposed to this intro, which, let's be honest, as cool as it is, there's not much for actual animation in the intro. It's mostly just scanning around, zooming in on things. Someone from God of War told me whether those lines that we hear in the fight, or in the preview, are from God of War itself, or just, or actually recorded. I don't actually know. I want to say it's been recorded for the Death Battle, but it's very simplistic animation, which fits for what it's trying to go for. It didn't need to be elaborate, so it was probably a bit quicker to get done. But more importantly, I think it makes more sense to show a preview for that, because Tomcat vs. Wily was already confirmed to be happening, and showing this off for Kratos Azura, I think, is just going to get more hype going, because showing off Tomcat Wily, people are going to be like, yeah, we expected that. Not as many people I think were expecting Kratos Azura. And in fact, not just these two episodes, but there is a third episode from a fan vote poll from the last few years that has come in, because when I woke up this morning, I found out that motherfucker smashed the goal that would give us Simone the Digger versus White Lantern. Specifically White Lantern 2, so we know that Kyle Rayner is likely to get the life equation, so he's probably going to win and piss everyone off. Azura and Simone being revealed on Death Battle together, two of the highest scale characters they've ever used to this point, to the point of their two opponents not even remotely being within a breadth of their scale, is a hell of a way to come back. I can't think of any characters known for the sheer scale of their battles as much as these two. I mean, I know Goku often is, but people who think Goku regularly engages in fights that eclipse galaxies probably haven't read the manga and only know him from reputation. I can't think of a single time that canon Goku has ever had a fight, even on a planetary scale. Like, there was the shockwaves with the Beerus Clash, but like, that was like visually not the most impressive looking because it was just a bunch of waves. I don't know. Not to say these two aren't the only characters like this on Death Battle, but they sure make a splash just from their names alone in this sphere. This is a pretty exciting matchup for a lot of people and a great stretch goal. Given that it would require probably a bit more budget than your average episode, I'm really interested to see where this goes. As of now, there's 2 more episodes that have been revealed, but I also want to shout out what might be the most single fucking exciting thing. We hit the goal for a Torian run back. We got a Torian run back, lads! This matchup could be white bread versus room temperature tap water, and it'll still make Kyle versus Simone look like bread falling over. That or Torian will do Kyle versus Simone, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Maybe they'll put Ruby versus Marker on the table. And also, I'm joking, Kyle vs. Simone's gonna be hype as fuck, obviously. Torian run back, that's just wild. One of the animators I think I respect the most from Death Battle's history, and has made some of my favorite animations on the internet. A legend of the scene, returning is exciting. Awesome. We also hit the goals for a hand-drawn Luis episode, which is pretty exciting too, and a bonus episode. Why did I say pretty exciting? I wrote super exciting in the script. It's super exciting. And a bonus episode of Light vs. Columbo by Liam. And by the time this video comes out, chances are we might have hit the goal for a live-action episode with Ismahawk too. We can only speculate what that'll be like. I imagine Batman or Azrael vs. Moon Knight off the top of my head would definitely be options on the table. And if we do get there, that'll hit a full 16 episodes on the table, 2 of which will be as well Mahito vs. Shigaraki. Probably the matchup I have the least to say about. I honestly hadn't even really heard of it prior, but I also don't engage much with Jujutsu Kaisen at all, because I've not seen it, or Shigaraki honestly. Seems neat, I'm sure it'll be cooking. But also, hot skibbity damn, episode 200! After Galactus vs. Unicron and Goku vs. Superman 3 happened last year, people were throwing 2 matchups around for episode 200, Ruby vs. Marker, and motherfucking Ash vs. Yugi. We got it, lads! I am very excited. It's going to be awesome. I love Yu-Gi-Oh!, one of my favorite animes out there, mostly for nostalgia reasons, and a pretty cool card game that I have not engaged with in years, unlike my main card game, Magic the Gathering, which I have not engaged with in years. I really can't wait to see this happen, and I'm curious to see how they go about it, because when it comes to the debate, this is a matchup I see a lot of double standards in the community going both ways, so curious how that'll go. What that leads us with now is, if we hit that 500,000 goal, 16 episodes, which will include Tomcat vs. Wile E. Coyote, Kratos vs. Azura, Bardock vs. Omni-Man, Bowser vs. Eggman, Mahito vs. Shigaraki, Simone the Digger vs. Kyle Rayner, Ash Ketchum vs. Yugi Moto, a yet undecided rematch, a hand-drawn Luis episode, a 3D animated Torian episode, a live-action Ismahawk episode, and 5 episodes of unknown matchup animation or anything as of now. This has been a crazy day that I think more than feeds us after the months of silence that we cannot blame them for. I'll try to keep you all updated. Anything new that comes up will be brought out likely in the next crossover catch-up, but man, this is too exciting for me not to do a video on. I'm genuinely super hyped for whatever is coming out. Oh my god, this is all expected by goddamn this year too. End of the month, or sometime after the end of the month. This is... wow. And then during working on this video, they dropped this. Yeah, get Torian on this fucker, holy shit.